Welcome back once again to You Should Get a License, the podcast edition. This is Rod Powell, and today having a conversation with a gentleman I'm really excited about because, you know, he's someone who I actually got to see come into this business and really ascend, not directly working together, but was able to kind of watch from afar on the other side of the country even, and to watch him, you know, start his career, rise up into not just a powerful sales professional, but into a powerful sales leader as well, and continue to grow and blossom, you know, as a business person, as a man. He's a family man, and someone I have just much respect for. You know, we work together in the same organization at one point, and I think we've even grown closer since we haven't been working in the same organization. And I'm excited to have him on. We've had to reschedule this conversation several times because he's so busy, always has something going on. All the way from the Bay, Mr. Eric Robinson. Eric, how you doing, bro?
Thanks, man. Oh man, I'm doing well. Thanks for that amazing intro. You know, I'm honored to be here. I know that you've been doing a lot of big things with this forum. You should get a license, man. I've seen it go from, you know, I think I was like one of your first 10 followers or something like that. and man, this thing's blossoming. So it's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And sorry for the lengthy time in the scheduling.
No, it's all good, man. When you make things happen, you know, sometimes you gotta, you know, stick, move, shake, shift, and I certainly understand it. But you're here now. You know, so we're here now and ready to talk. Yep. And, you know, before we get started, you know, this platform is really designed to, you know, give folks information about this business because it's not something that's talked about very openly. It's a very powerful industry, you know, as you and I know and have learned over the years. But for most people, they don't think about a career in insurance. You know, they may think about something that's, you know, exciting or flashy, or what they see on social media as, you know, quick and get rich. And this is certainly not a get rich quick, but it certainly is a get rich business. And we certainly, you know, missed the boat on that. And that's for everybody. But like we've discussed before, a lot of times, you know, our folks that look like us, don't even have an idea of what can be accomplished, you know, working in this business. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing some time. I'm excited to get into the conversation. The way I like to start off, because we are educating, we are informing, we are inspiring on this industry. There's many segments, many schools. What segment of the business do you specialize in? What area of insurance do you focus on? Let's start there.
Yeah, that's a really great question. So the biggest focus that I have in right now is life insurance, mortgage protection, but what more commonly would be voluntary benefits, things that aren't included in like your employer plan, things like that, things that you don't necessarily have to have, or there's no tax penalty if you don't have it, like your major medical insurance, things like that. So, you know, life insurance specifically, supplemental health insurance, disability income insurance, things that essentially pay you or your loved one directly to compensate that loss or recompense a loss. So those are the areas that I focus in on, and wouldn't have it any other way. I love that industry. Absolutely. Serving middle income America. You know, it's almost a forgotten class nowadays.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you. And because certainly the economic infrastructure continues to shift, you know, as we move on in time. But you mentioned a couple topics I really want to expound on, because I know that, you know, folks who listen may not have heard these terms before. Supplemental health. Let's talk about that one first. Like, what is supplemental health? Because you mentioned the doctor bills and those kind of things. Health insurance. What is that? We know life insurance. What's supplemental health insurance?
That's a great question, man. So supplemental health It's the almost like the elephant in the room in some cases, but you know, you have your major medical, which is designed for your doctor bills, your hospital bills, your pharmacy, those things. The things that aren't covered by those things like you know, your mortgage payment if you're sick and you can't, you know, go to work. Things like the out of pocket costs or out of pocket expenses that come along with your major medical bill. You know, there's
Like
a lot of different,
deductibles and
yeah,
co-payment.
deductibles, co-payments, benefit limitations. You know, there's a number of different things that we don't naturally think about if, God forbid, we were to get very, very sick, something like cancer, heart attack, stroke, you know, even as bad as diabetic amputation or going to a coma, something like that, something that's very critical. You know, typically people, you know, automatically hear that and they're like, oh, a long-term care policy, or is that my disability, or isn't that covered by my major medical? And oftentimes, you know, the general population is not aware of the fact that there's policies designed to pay directly to you for going through those things, going to the hospital and being admitted and having to stay there for a while, you know, being diagnosed with cancer and then going through the treatment, or having a heart attack or stroke or heart surgery and then going through that treatment and the hospital stays along with that. Yes, a portion of that major medical is going to be taken care of, that doctor bill is going to be taken care of, the hospital bill, you know, your pharmacy and medications will have a discount, things like that, depending on your major medical plan. But again, those out-of-pocket expenses, the co-payment, the, you know, deductible, you know, any benefit limitation that you may have that you may max out and then it's an out-of-pocket cost. Those supplemental health policies help pay those bills, help you maintain your standard of living, help make sure that you're not, you know, taking out a second on the home, or, you know, selling that fun joyride car that you bought or your hobby or something like that, so that you can, you know, make sure that the bills are taken care of. And oftentimes these bills actually, you know, come with a return of premium feature in many of the cases. So, you know, you can get money back if you don't go through cancer, heart attack, stroke, things like that. So a little bit about that market, but it's a market that I fell in love with just because I lost my mom when I was about 3 years old, and she, you know, had lymphoma. I'm sure her having a policy, it would have definitely changed some things for her in those circumstances. But you know, at the end of the day, I could be an advocate for those type of policies now.
Absolutely, absolutely. So essentially, what we're talking about is, we know health insurance is going to cover a certain amount, but for the things that health insurance doesn't cover, your supplemental health can kick in and give you some money so you can take care of those things as well. Okay, very important. Absolutely, man, and condolences on your mother as well, and dealing with that. I would think that, you know, having that experience that is so close to home, you know, really kind of fuels, you know, your passion for the business, you know, and helps you really see it from a different kind of perspective than someone who would simply just made a decision to sell those policies.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, there's definitely a level of passion when I'm either in a home or in a work site or even on a Zoom call. No matter who I'm talking to or who I'm dealing with, I'm always, you know, we use insurance to cover the potential loss, right? That's the intentional design of insurance. And so in the society today, in my opinion, things move so fast that we don't oftentimes sit back and take a look at the fact that, oh man, you know, I just bought this beautiful home and it's worth, you know, $450,000 or $600,000. And, oh, you know, I do have that car payment and, you know, I do like to get a new car on average. And there's going to, you know, there's about $30,000, you know, I usually, you know, have on my car payment or whatever it may be. And, you know, those are all expenses that someone's got to take care of, or, you know, things need to be taken care of. Even if you're still alive, you know, you're going on disability, you fall off a ladder or something like that. These are all different things that need to be maintained. And oftentimes we're so caught up in the day-to-day bill that we forget about what if, and right, until what if happens. So, you know, I'm very, very passionate about that just because I've seen what happens, especially, you know, we talk about our community, but, you know, I see it all the time when I was a kid, you know, something bad happens. And now, you know, back then when I was a kid, it was a car wash and candy and candy sales, you know, maybe a lemonade stand if you had some really good lemonade. But, you know, nowadays it's GoFundMe's, right? Let everybody know on Facebook. that's something that I believe that nobody wants their family to have to go through. But it requires an education, a certain level of passionate individuals that actually care about, explaining things and getting out into the community and informing people properly versus just trying to make a buck.
That's right. That's right. I mean, especially in the last, in the last year and a half, we've seen that no one is untouchable,
Right. Right.
And it would behoove, all of us to make sure that we're prepared,
right,
for the unexpected should it occur. Hopefully it doesn't to anybody who's listening. But no, very, very important stuff, man. I'm glad that you're sharing, the information in this way, because even if someone, we're talking about it from a standpoint of, looking at insurance as a career, but even someone's looking at it as a career, wants to get a little bit more additional insight. They also need to understand that it's important to be protected and to be covered as well, because,
right.
It's one thing to show your Apple Watch or your new J's, are you on your vacation on the gram? But, once again, if something happens, you want to make sure that the things that actually matter are taken care of as well for both yourself and your family. So good stuff, man. Good stuff. I want to kind of go back I want to, start the journey into your career in the business. But I want to go back, far, 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 and I really want to go kind of back into your childhood. So getting into this business is always, it's kind of like a lucky chance, for most of us to even find out that it exists.
Yeah. I agree.
Take me back. 9-year-old Eric Robinson.
9 years old, man.
9 years old. What was your dream? What was your dream growing up? What'd you want to do?
Oh man, I don't think I was thinking that far, but I remember that, right around 10 or 10, 11, just after that, right around the same age. This idea I wanted to be and this is crazy, a reconstructive plastic surgeon, right? I know it's very, very detailed and very a reconstructive plastic surgeon. And that was really, really what I wanted to do. But the other side of it was I wanted to, be an athlete. And, there was that tug and that pull, And I realized, well, I'm not as good in the study realm. I didn't like to just sit there and study and pass tests. I could pass them and things like that. I was good at academia, BC student, decent student, not a straight A student or anything like that. But just it wasn't necessarily, school wasn't my calling. I'll just say that. Yeah. But being an athlete was, and then soon I realized that maybe I'm not as athletic as everybody else. And so then, then I was like, man, let me try and, be a rapper. I like that one. And that was a fun journey. And somehow from there, I think we all know that things change and life changes and things go on and on, but I luckily found myself in a position where I met some people in the insurance industry. There's probably like 10 years I just skipped in there.
Right. Absolutely. Look, I want to go back to the to the sports a little bit, man. So you were not just any old athlete, though. I mean, you really had some success. Like it was a volleyball.
Yeah, men's volleyball.
Yeah. So how'd you get it? Okay, growing up, California is where you're from.
Yeah, California. Yeah.
What part of California?
I grew up in SoCal. Grew up in a little town called Pasadena, just out of east side of LA County. Okay. And then right around middle school, high school, my parents moved to the town next door, which is Arcadia, where I got to experience a little bit more of an affluent life, or at least I got to see kids that had an affluent life, where, the kids' parking lot you know, 90% of the cars were nicer than the teachers. So once I got to experience that, you know, my dad had, you know, put me in volleyball. My sisters were good at volleyball. You know, I played football, I played basketball, but honestly, I found a lot of joy in just being able to jump real high and hit that ball as hard as I could, and I was pretty good at it. You know, did get a couple medals in Junior Olympics, gold,
Yes.
silver, and had a great team, man. My dad made a lot of sacrifices driving me from, you know, LA County, you know, the northern part of LA County down to Orange County or even further, Long Beach, or even, you know, West LA, where Manhattan Beach, things like that, beach areas where, you know, the best volleyball some in the world still is played. And he did a lot of sacrificing to make sure I was a part of, you know, the top club, and, you know, really got a lot of exposure, things like that. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, man. Hey, you know, it's not until we get older, you know, that we really realize, you know, some of the sacrifices that, you know, our parents and our family, you know, really make for us, because we start to make it, or when we really have children of our own, because then we start to make similar, you know, adjustments in our
Yeah,
lifestyles, you know.
yeah, 100%, 100%. Yep.
You know, so that's awesome, man. I know that it's those times probably stick with you now, you know, thinking back on those moments.